Welcome to the Friday Everyday Podcast. This is where we share and explore how to design a thriving business and lifestyle so that we can live the lives we've always wanted right now.
It's where strategy meets energy work. It's where we'll unpack how to build a business that works for you and we'll make it tangible and actionable. I'm Jodi, an online business coach, and my mission is to help you grow and scale your online business to create time freedom so that you can spend more time doing the things you love with the people you love.
And I'm Brian DeCastro. As a holistic health practitioner and Reiki master, my part in this mission is to provide self-care support and spiritual guidance to business owners who are shifting to align with their next level way of being.
So come and join us here where every day feels like Friday and the vibe is fun, inspiring, and real.
Just sit back, relax, and enjoy. This moment is yours and you've earned it.
This is the Friday Everyday Podcast.
Okay, welcome back everyone to the Friday Everyday Podcast, episode 11. Jay, we're getting closer.
Yeah, almost.
We're getting closer to finally completing our 12 episodes for season one. It's been really busy last few months, and despite our attempts and our time, the amount of times we scheduled this into our calendar, it's been hard to book the calls because also like we have our best sessions when it's a certain time of day and all these different things, right? But also what has been happening is we have these moments where we have an idea on a topic and we're excited about it. And then like by the time we are getting ready to record, we're like, no, that wasn't it either. Right.
Yeah.
And we want to continue bringing some fun and interesting content, but also actionable stuff that's helpful for those that are in the entrepreneurial space, online coaching, want to grow their business and align their business with the life they've always dreamt of, right? So sometimes we end up just passing up on certain things just because we were like, no, that's not it either. And if we're not super psyched about it, I think we can just continue moving on, right? So, but the next two episodes, just for those listening, are going to be focusing on some key areas that are our main skill sets and areas that we like to share, coach on, and promote. So the focus is going to be you today. So I get to interview you, and we're gonna explore the topic of the day. So basically, the topic of the day is the 5 keys to your group coaching offer. You discuss this in the workshops that you're running every 2 weeks, right? As part of our promotional like marketing tool. Embedded in these 5 key areas, though, we're also going to talk about the top 5 mistakes that we've come to experience, others have been doing, also just we've experienced on our own, finding our own stuff out, but also just it's stacked up against like what has been working, what has not been working, what consistently seems to break down in certain areas, and what is stand the test of time. Like right now, the machine we've created, I like to call it, with the workshop that you're running now, has been having some really great success, and we're excited about it. We're pumped to see more people coming into the space, and we're pretty psyched to see what's coming up next. And it's actually unfolded a lot of other ideas that we have for different types of offers that have been coming up based on the needs we've been noticing happening, right? So once you really start to get your hands dirty and getting in the trenches with this stuff again, like it's really exciting to see things unfold and actually kind of flows quite naturally, right? So let's just get into it. So feel free to sort of introduce anything you want before we get started, but then let's introduce the 5 main areas, and then you can kind of just start elaborating on it, and we'll have a sort of discussion style, but also we'll pull out those mistakes as well in each section, just so we have this documented and highlighted here, and we can share it as well, and listeners can reference back to it if they want to continue optimizing their group coaching offer and group coaching program. So feel free to start wherever you like to start.
Okay. So the thing that we're talking about today is the 5 key characteristics of the perfect group coaching offer. And so, like you said, this is where I am talking about how to basically format the offer. So, not the elements, not what's inside of it, but how to do the structure, because most people have all kinds of questions and they usually think there's some like typical things that people think that actually aren't necessarily true. And so I've come up with a way that I run my group coaching programs. And part of it has come from my corporate background. When I was a regional manager in the fitness industry, I managed a team of 13 different locations with 100 plus personal trainers on my team. And that was actually my first sort of step into group coaching, because I was coaching the 13 managers on calls every single day. And so by doing that, it really taught me, how to engage everybody and how to keep everyone on the same page, and how to, take someone who's brand new and get them to mesh with the people who have been with me for a year, 2 years, 3 years, right? So there's a whole bunch of different pieces here, but let's start with the first one, which is the offer length. So this is key characteristic number one. And so most people think that, they should do these like 8 or 12 week programs. And most people think they need to do them in cohorts with a start and an end date. So that's going to come a little bit later. But the length of the program is the first piece. And I think the biggest difference, in my opinion, between like teaching and coaching is that when we're teaching and when we're delivering courses and stuff like that, it's like the goal is giving people information. But in coaching, the goal is to help them implement that information.
Mhm.
And so for me, the length of the program when you're doing group coaching, or really any kind of coaching, I believe should be somewhere between 4 and 6 months. And it's usually actually 4 or 6 months. So that way you get to not only teach the information, but you also have time for the implementation. And I'm sure you can speak to this too, Bri, like when we were in fitness and we were personal trainers. And, I don't know about you, but when I first started, we were selling like 6 packs, 12 packs, whatever. And what we noticed was our clients were, maybe they were learning how to use the machines, the equipment, whatever it was, but they weren't integrating it into their lives. So even if they did 6 or 12 sessions, it was like as soon as that was done, they weren't even showing up to the gym anymore. They weren't doing what they were supposed to. They didn't know how to change the strategy, or the periodization, as we call it in fitness. They didn't know what to do. And so, at least in my corporate fitness world, we actually changed the entire model where people could only buy a minimum of, I believe it was 3 or 4 months worth of sessions. And the reason for that was because we wanted to make sure that they were actually, yes, learning, but also implementing, and that if and when they decided to go on their own, they would continue to implement and show up and do all the things. And so for me, in a group coaching offer online, it's the same principle. I believe that the program should be 4 or 6 months long at least, so that people have time to actually learn and implement the stuff that they have learned with you.
Yeah, it's funny because you mentioned, I guess the first mistake of this is people are are offering something that's too short,
Yeah.
um, which is kind of funny because we're upgrading mine right now, behind the scenes,
Yeah.
and typically mine's been sitting around 90 days or like the 12 week. So like I'm already
Yeah.
looking at like what is it? Like I mean I feel like in those 90 to 100 days, if they play full on, an outcome can happen, right? A significant outcome or shift can happen.
Yeah.
But how often do people play full on?
Well,
It's
there's that.
like I'm just working with someone right now, and she's really owning this at another level than other people I've worked with in the past. So that
Yeah.
would be optimal, right? But in some cases, it's not uncommon that people are going to run into barriers or resistance or roadblocks
Yeah.
that will delay if you have them on this strict 12-week program, like it's
Yeah.
going to delay that process and push it out further,
Yeah.
right? So you got to kind of like come with it up front that this is going to take some time and some
Yeah.
things are going to come up that we don't know what's going to come up yet that could delay the process, right?
Yeah.
So,
And it's not just about allowing them to delay it, right? It's the fact that within a 4 to 6 month time frame, typically something a bit out of the ordinary is going to happen.
yeah,
Someone's getting sick, whether it's you, it's your kids, it's the parents, it's whatever. Like things are going to happen that are out of the ordinary that need to be dealt with. And the goal is that we can teach people how to continue on the path to whatever it is they're trying to achieve while that stuff's going on,
yeah,
right? And it's teaching them. And again, this comes from fitness, right? It's like people would come and say, well, I'm going away for a week. And it's like, cool. Let's figure out how to help you stay on track even while you're away.
yeah,
What are we doing to help you prep for the plane ride so that you're not eating crap food in the airport? What
yeah,
are we doing to help you get a little bit of movement into your day, even though you're going to be busy, right? Like, what choices are we making at the restaurant? How can we swap this for that? Like, it's about being able to help people sort of utilize the information that they've learned while they're with you and almost like troubleshoot what they can do even when shit's going down.
hmm,
That's the point, right? So I always recommend the 4 to 6 months. And on top of the piece that actually helps the client, where you go through all these stages and you also get to know them better. And I believe that the more you know them, the better you can help them. So there's that. But there's also the business side, which is when you have a commitment to someone working with you for 4 to 6 months and they're paying monthly, which we're going to talk about in a second as a second characteristic, you can create predictable revenue, right? And the
hmm,
whole point of this is so that we can know what's coming in month to month instead of going into every month scrambling, worried, unsure if you can pay your bills, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're not doing that, right? So when we actually stack what I call stack the revenue, then we get to go into every single month knowing, okay, I have 3 clients paying me $300 a month. They're all committed for 6 months. Great. Month number one is 900 bucks, right? 300 times 3 clients, 900. The second month, I add another 3 clients. Now I'm making 1,800 a month, not just for 1 month, but a month,
yeah,
right? Going forward for the next 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Month number three, you add another 3, and so on. And
mhm,
so within 6 months, if you keep adding 3 clients a month at 300 bucks, which is a very like simple, straightforward, relatively easy yes for people,
mhm.
you can be somewhere between 6 and up to 10K if you're charging 500 a month, more in that range, between 6 and 10K in 6 months
Yeah,
because you are
yeah,
stacking the revenue. And now instead of going into every month in panic mode and I took all my payments in full and now I don't know what's happening and da 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 da, now you have 6 months of payments coming in that you know of. And
yeah.
now you can go into each month with calm and ease, and you're selling from a place of calm and ease instead of from stress and, oh my God, I need this person to say yes and da 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 da. Like that does not work.
Yeah, like I like how you explained both we went through both the client experience of the 4 to 6 months, but also the CEO experience
Yeah.
of 4 to 6 months from a business model, right? And I love the idea that there's got to be enough time to actually allow for these things to come up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like a fictional sort of situation that's just going to be optimal for these 30 days or whatever. But then when they're cut loose, it's like, whoa, like
They're
all kinds
lost.
of stuff just happened, and my mom's sick or my dog died or whatever,
Yeah.
and all this stuff's coming up, and and there's no resources to help coach them through that
Exactly.
situation, or even like a tribe or a community, like the group also offers that
Yeah.
emotional support as well
100%.
too, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot at play there. I guess we're starting to get into it, so
I was
let's
going to say,
yeah, let's move to the next one. Yeah, what's number two?
so number two, we've sort of started talking about
Yeah.
already, which is what I call the pay for what you get revenue model. And essentially what that means is that if the program is going to be 4 or 6 months, that every single month they are paying you that portion of the total cost. Usually I also increase it about 10% if they're paying monthly.
Hmm.
But this is the revenue model where people are paying monthly reoccurring revenue. And basically, when I say pay for what you get, It means if they're paying $300 or $500 a month, in that month, it's actually the same throughout all of the months, but in that month, they're getting, let's say it's weekly group coaching calls. They're getting unlimited back pocket calls that they can use. They're getting access to your Facebook group, like all the different elements of the group offer, which is another conversation.
Hmm.
But they're getting all of the elements and they're getting on a monthly basis essentially. But they are committed to that 4 or 6 month time frame. And one of the questions I get a lot with this is if I have trouble with people actually paying, like do they drop off right after month 3 or 4, or what happens with the content? Like if you give them the content right away, do they then just take it and then leave?
Yeah.
And so the answer, of course, is no, that doesn't happen, because if it did, I wouldn't do it this way, right?
Hmm.
But I give my content all up front, and I do not have, like, I do have very little or very few people who are dropping off at any point throughout the program. I do not have issues with people not paying, like very minimal, under, I'd say, like 3%, like very, very minimal. And I actually find that when you are having people pay monthly, and of course, it's on you to make sure you're staying engaged with them and you're talking to them and you're checking in on them and all that stuff. But when people are paying monthly, I actually find they are more engaged, because
Yeah.
when they've paid in full, it's like it's done. The money's gone. So
Hmm.
month 2, 3, they're kind of like paid the money already, not interested, not showing up, doesn't matter. Money's already dealt with. But if they're paying monthly, they're like, that $300 is coming out. I better show up, right? So
Yeah.
I actually prefer it when people are paying monthly. So it doesn't mean you can't ever have people pay in full. I do let people pay in full, but I prefer for them to pay on that monthly basis so that we have recurring revenue, so that people are staying more engaged and more focused throughout. There are very few issues, like I said, with people making payments and stuff like that. Um, and there's also very few refunds. So it's not like you're suddenly having someone ask you for $3,000 or $5,000 back.
Yeah.
Not that you necessarily are giving it, but there isn't even that conversation. It doesn't exist. And also, it's a lot easier for people to say yes often, not always, but often, to the lower price point. So instead of having them pay in full, 3, 6, $10,000, whatever it is, if they're able to pay monthly, that can be a lot easier for people to say yes to. So I love a pay for what you get revenue model.
Yeah, like this, our membership space is like this right now too, as well, where there's a monthly cycle of events and opportunities to exchange month to month, and it's all right. It's very clear. It's all right there. And also, again, from the coach or entrepreneur, like the CEO perspective, person delivering, right? You have a set sort of like plan of how you know things. There's got to be some kind of structure, right?
Yeah.
I find sometimes with coaching, especially in the coaching that I do, sometimes it could be very, well, I work intuitively and I work sort of like in the real time sort of scenarios. But
Yeah.
what's improved in sort of the back office of my tracking of what's going on
Yeah.
is I create a dashboard now of where I call it the roadmap, where the client is in the process,
Yeah.
right? And I could tell that they're on day 46,
Yeah.
right? And I know what's going to happen in that time, but there's also cycles of things happening every month, or in those chunks of time that cadence and that consistency and that
Yeah.
repetition is also what helps reinforce what's happening, right? So
Absolutely. Yes.
yeah, it's good. So um, what would be the mistake in this area, or what is commonly something that people will do in this
Yeah.
area that tends to not always work as
Great
well?
question. A lot of people are told that the best way to take the money is to get people to pay in full.
Hmm.
And for me, that's just like a fear-based tactic, right? They're worried that people aren't going to pay them later, so they make sure they pay in full now. But in my experience, and I did this when I started my first business, and I was an online fitness business coach. My clients were brick and mortar clubs and studios, and I was doing the paid in full thing as my primary way of taking the payments. And what ends up happening is you end up on the revenue roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
So it's like 1 month you have this huge month because you got 3 clients and you made 6, 8, 10K, whatever it was. And then the next month, you think in your mind, oh, yeah, I'm going to get another three and they're all going to pay in full and I'm going to make 10K again. But that's not what happens, right?
Yeah.
Usually the second month is followed by like maybe no clients, maybe one client. And so the mistake is like a lot of coaches, I hear this all the time, and it drives me nuts. A
Mhm.
lot of coaches are going to say things like, all you need to do, in quotation marks, if you're listening, all you need to do is get two clients to pay you $2,500 paid in full. That's all you need to do. And that is a huge, huge mistake because if you rely on finding two clients who can pay you $2,500 all at one time, I guarantee you, you're going to have inconsistent months. You're not going to know what's coming. You're going to have ups and downs. It's going to be crazy. You're going to fall behind. You're going to end up in debt, all the things. So
Mhm.
instead, when I think about making 5K, if let's just for easy math, let's say your clients are paying you $500 a month, it's 10 clients. It's not two.
Mhm.
It's 10 clients paying you $500 a month for 6 months in a row. And so this way, it's not up one month and down the next. It's okay, as we're getting started, we're slowly but surely adding and stacking that revenue. But once you get there, if you're consistently adding the 3 to 5 clients that you need, we're going to be at that 6 to 10K mark. And if you lose one client, it's $500 a month, not $2,500 a month.
Yeah.
Right? So people have to be really careful with this because paid in full sounds great, 10K looks great. You get to say you did a 10K month, but usually the following months are not great and there's no consistency, and then this is where people fall flat, fall behind, get frustrated and all the things. So
Yeah, I find too, it
reoccurring
depends.
revenue all the way.
Yeah, it depends too on like on you've said this before too, where it's like, what are you comfortable asking, right? And I literally was just scrolling on my phone the other day, and now I'm getting this reoccurring thing of this guy saying, talking about having the $1,000 client versus the $10,000 client. Like he's promoting the high ticket model, right? And
Yeah,
like, so it is out there, and I
sure.
assume there's people having success with it,
100%.
but a lot of people that we've been working with lately have been coming from these programs
Yeah,
going, I paid all this money, and like they were that company's high ticket client,
yeah,
and they paid all this money. They didn't, for whatever reason, the results didn't pan out. Now they're kind of in debt because over
yeah,
that time they were expecting to replace the
yeah.
money with
And
revenue,
it,
and they
yeah,
haven't. So
100%.
for whatever reason, this seems to still be a very popular pitch out there
Yeah,
as far as, signing a high ticket client. But I find there's like, it's like hooking that big fish versus, like
yeah,
a bunch of smaller fish sort of thing. And that's where the group coaching model comes from as well. But
yeah.
if we were to sort of play devil's advocate here and entertain, why would they be promoting that style, and how could it possibly work if it were to work, the high ticket model?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you are someone who has the experience and the know-how and the confidence to be charging those kinds of prices, by all means, go ahead and charge them. The
Hmm.
thing that is, and sure, it sounds great and you made 10K and you got one client and that's how much you made and all that like raw stuff. But for the typical average coach getting into coaching, that is not realistic in order to get started.
Hmm.
That is a down the road situation. I don't believe that every coach who gets started should be charging 10K off the bat. I think that is, I don't know what the word even to say is. I don't think it's appropriate. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't think that most coaches in my experience who I've met, and I've met thousands, I don't see that coaches who are getting started, even if they have a ton of, not experience as a coach, but like background in their corporate, or they've got credentials, or they've got letters, and they've got education, and da da da. It still doesn't mean that they're prepared to go out on their own, start charging 10K right away.
Yeah.
And so this is a little like sort of side note, but if people are going to actually sell their programs, they need to be charging a rate that feels good to them. And if I had, like, what's the saying? Like, if I had a dime for every person who came to me and said, they told me to charge this much, I didn't feel comfortable, but I did it anyways.
Mhm.
And lo and behold, they didn't sell anything,
Yeah.
right? That is not the way to go. Like, I would way rather someone come in, and I actually think the 197 to 497 is the sweet spot for group coaching. Until maybe you're at a really high level, you've been doing it for a long time, etc., and you can charge more than that. But, you know, it makes a lot more sense for someone to come in and charge something that they feel comfortable asking for. Because if you don't have the confidence behind asking for the money, you're not selling, no matter what it is.
Hmm.
Period.
Yeah.
So people need to do a bit of this, like, shift out of the you have to sell high ticket and you have to make 10K off the bat and you have to automate and all the other things that they say. And it's like, no, let's dial it back for a second.
Hmm.
And everybody needs to actually start where they're at,
Yeah.
right? Start
Yeah.
where you're at.
Hmm.
And so I'll just say this quickly and then we can move to the next one. But the rules about pricing is like this. Number one is you have to feel confident selling it. But number two, which is where there's a balance, number two is you have to feel excited about selling it. So it can't be so low that when you sell it, the feeling is, I've sold it, but now I have to do all of that work for only that money.
Hmm.
Or even if, people come to me and sometimes they want to charge really low rates, like group coaching programs for 47, 77, $97 a month. Okay. And they do it because they've never been in sales and they're unsure and like all of that stuff, right? They don't know their worth, whatever the reason is. But when we do the math and they want to make $10,000 a month and they're only charging 100 and they realize how many people they actually need in order to get to that excuse me, that 10,000, they realize that that price is too low, right? So there is a bit of finessing here, there is a bit of give and take here. It cannot be so low that you can't make a living off of it, right? And also it needs to feel good to you when you try to sell it, because if it doesn't, then forget it.
Yeah, and I think we might get into this further in the conversation too.
Yeah.
What people don't realize too is the volume of conversations you need to have
Right.
before you even have a call booked,
Yes,
or
we're gonna get to
before
that
you
in
have
number
a warm or hot lead,
yeah,
right? So
we're
there's
gonna get to that.
more to come in that area, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of reasons why all of these things sort of like intertwine with each other,
exactly.
um, to allow for the success, not just
Yeah,
sales, but consistent rolling and growing, expanding, opportunity, right?
yeah,
So that's good. And I was saying, just speaking to the pay for what you get in the monthly cycles and stuff too. It's like it's taking out of the stress cycle of
for
I
sure.
because when I was in commercial too, the company was running all the goals based on monthly goals. And like, yeah, but like same thing was happening. I renewed all of my current clients and sold too. So yeah, my month looks amazing that month, but now I feel I got to start all over again.
Yeah,
It didn't last long before I was like, this is getting really old on me. It's
yeah,
not, and I just don't can't keep this cycle going over and over
yeah,
again, right? So
exactly.
that's good. So what's next?
Okay, so the third one is the resource library versus creating a course. So this is one that I get all the time. Most people come in thinking I need to create an 8 to 12 week course. That's what they think. So we already talked about the length of time, right? And now we're talking about the course. And so most people think that when they run a group coaching program, that they're going to run it in this 8 to 12 week time span, and that every week they're talking about a specific topic, they're going to give them specific, resources or worksheets or whatever, and that's how they're going through the course. Which, if you think about what we talked about at the beginning, you realize that those 8 or 12 weeks is just about teaching, it's not about implementation, right? So then we go back and we go, okay, no, we're doing 4 to 6 months, we're going to do this reoccurring revenue thing. And also, we're going to do what I call resource library, where instead of having your steps, like step by step by step, where you're expecting people to go through it in the exact same way, we're going to create a resource library that has typically 3 to 5 pillars. Those are the overarching pillars of your content. And under each one, you're going to have the different resources that people might need. And so, what it does is it creates flexibility. It allows you to meet your clients where they're at,
Yeah.
right? So, instead of having this rigid program and it has to go this way, and we're talking about this thing on week 1 and this thing on week 2, it isn't like that anymore. All of the resources will live inside of your members area, member vault, whatever you want to call it. And all the trainings and stuff will happen there, which people can do on their own time. And so instead of spending the coaching call doing trainings, which is what most people think, they think that on the group coaching call, they're supposed to actually be delivering training.
Hmm.
But instead, that training is going to be recorded behind the scenes in the vault, and the coaching call is going to actually be used just for coaching,
Yeah.
right? Q&A just for coaching. And when we do that, we can actually meet people where they're at and then direct them to the part inside of the vault that they actually need right now. So
Hmm.
everyone is a little bit different. And I'll use the example of fitness because that's the easiest one that comes to my mind. So typically, let's say in fitness, the pillars are going to be like exercise, nutrition, and mindset, right? But somebody might come in and their like first habit that they need to work on is just drinking water every day.
Hmm.
And someone else might be really good at that, but their habit is they need to start walking for 15 minutes every day, right? So there isn't this exact protocol that every single person's going to go through because everybody's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So when we have the resource library, it's a lot easier to meet your clients where you're at, especially now that we're going to have rolling enrollment, which we're going to talk about in a second. When you have people coming into your program all the time, we're not going to be able to run exactly this week by this week by this week anymore. That part has to happen behind the scenes because when you have people coming in all the time, there is no week 1, week 2, week 3,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? It just doesn't really work like that. So I always recommend a resource library. This is going to eliminate all the overthinking of how do I organize it and which thing comes first and how do I do it and how do I tell them what to do next and all of those questions and what if I want to change something or what if I want to add something. Like, there's no more of that. Just create your 3 to 5 pillars, put your resources inside, whether it's scripts, tools, templates, interviews, whatever, and then use your calls to help direct people to where they need to go.
Yeah,
Much easier.
I like this because when I was first, obviously when we first came out of school too, one of the things they taught us is like Western periodization for a client, right? Which was originally developed when they were training like Olympic athletes and in Eastern Bloc countries and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily realistic for the the mom that's raising 3 kids
Right.
or the CEO or the executive that has to be on call all the time and all these different things, right?
Yeah.
So the life happens, shit happens, and your little perfectly laid out periodization schedule for next 20
Doesn't
weeks
work.
is gonna get fucked with, right?
Yeah.
So I like the idea too because originally I was training my clients in a relatively linear fashion. Also, from a
Yeah.
powerlifting perspective, there was a deadline and you build towards it.
Right.
But I've learned that in real life, the numbers you planned on week 8 after the flu are not going to be satisfied, and you got to be able to
Right.
deviate, right? So what I love about this is I also thought about my program had like 12 different sort of components to it. And instead of it being a linear layout, it was almost like an organic, like circular graphic
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
they're in the middle and they're going out to whatever it is they need at the time, right? So
Yes.
you're little customizing the experience for them, right?
Yes.
Your coaching is in real time, and you just offer tools and exercise that they can plug in when they
Right.
need them, and also you don't even teach them about it until it's relevant, or else they're massively overwhelmed with this giant like master's degree level course load that
Yeah.
they got to do. And
Yeah.
the other thing too is it's eliminating. This is a huge thing for me in the past. What I've dealt with in the fitness space is it eliminates the guilt and shame cycle of
Mhm.
I know we're supposed to be on day 5 or week 5, but I've been behind 2 weeks or a couple
Yeah.
of days, and now I feel like I'm holding everyone back, and
Yeah.
and then you go down this downward spiral, and then you just crawl under a rock and just go,
Yeah.
I hope they don't reach out to me because I'm so behind on stuff now,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
The last thing you want is to create these low energy, low vibe emotions around not making some sort of mark that's not even realistic to begin with,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, this is a huge one. So library versus course, game changer, get your program launched, stop waiting until you're like making it perfect and all that stuff.
Yeah, and just take your experience and collect what's working and
Yeah.
just create a tool out of it, right? And
Exactly.
that's a done deal. Okay. So what's next? We kind of went into it a little bit.
Started
Um,
to. I know they all
yeah,
kind of blend because they
yeah,
all work together in a certain way. So number four is rolling enrollment versus closed enrollment. So
yeah.
again, like we talked about from the beginning, most people think they have to run this cohort 8 or 12 weeks, start date here, end date there. So the biggest challenge with that is when you do that, two things happen. One is you get worried that you have to have a certain number of people in order to start your program. So you think you need to have 5, 10, 15, 20 people in order to get started. And so what most coaches do is they end up pushing back their launch because they're afraid they're not going to have enough people. So, it's like I need 10, I only have 2, I can't start. Well, yeah, you can. You can start because when you do rolling enrollment, if you start with 2, it doesn't matter. You can just keep adding. You meet someone else next week, you get on another call, you add them in. So, again, because we're doing the resource library and there's no week by week training, right? It's not like that other person is coming in at week 4.
Hmm.
They are coming in at their own week 1, right? And so I love to use rolling enrollment because one, it stops you from pushing back your launch. That's
Hmm.
number one. No more pushing back the launch. And two, a lot of people worry that if they did do it that way and they did launch the cohort, if they only got 2 people, now they literally can't make any more money because they think they can't bring anyone else in for the next 6 months.
Hmm.
So this is also crazy, right? Like you're not going to cut yourself off from making the money. And you also don't want to be saying no to people who need your help.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
instead, I like to do rolling enrollment where people can come in at any time. And one thing that I should say here is that in your resource vault, you could always have a section that says, like, start here. And if there are some basics that people need, some fundamental teachings or learnings that they need in order to do the rest of the program, you can have them start there with those 3, 4, 5 things. And then from there, they can sort of flow, right? So you absolutely can create a little bit of a structure inside so that every person that comes in starts with these 3 to 5 things, but then after that, it's going to flow.
Yeah, yeah. I think too, like there's very few things that I do that is kind of linear, but it can still be done in a rolling enrollment fashion. It's like my 10-day reboot. You
Mm-hmm.
can technically have like a group where someone logs in and the way they communicate is they communicate first of all, hi, I'm Mike, I'm on day 7, right? And
Yeah,
there's other people that are on day 25 or 42 or whatever, and there's opportunities for not only that it's customized learning and they're learning in their real-time experience, but then there's opportunities to ones who've been there for a while can share their wins
yeah,
and lead in the space. Now
yeah,
there's more value in the space when there's a
absolutely.
mix of people during having different experiences, right? So
Yeah,
that's one thing I love about it too is just the fact that you can sort of leverage the value of the people in the group, right?
yeah, exactly. Like, this is a huge question I get all the time, which is like, what do I do if I have someone who just started yesterday and I have someone who's been with me for 3 or 4 months already? And my answer to this is the magic of group coaching. Like, this is why it's so amazing. So, yes, there's certainly something to be said about people going through at the same pace and all that stuff, provided that they actually do, right? Because we literally just talked about how sometimes it doesn't work out that way and they fall behind and stuff like that. So, sure, if they were going to stay on track and everyone was going to be on the same week at the same time, yes, that would be great. But also having people who are in different places who can actually share, where new people can see the type of progress that the people who've been with you for a while are making,
Hmm.
and they can get that support from those people as well, is huge. And even the people who've been with you for a long time, when the newbies come in and they start asking like new questions, the people who've been with you for a while are going, oh my God, I haven't thought about that thing in 3 months. And I really should.
Yeah.
Right? Let me get back on that. So there is a give and take for everyone. It creates a really great community. It allows people to support each other. So this is actually one of the pieces that I love the most about doing the rolling enrollment is that people get to support each other. And it's not just you, the coach, right? Because I don't know if this happens in every program, but certainly in ours, we get lots of smart people who have lots of great ideas, who all have really cool skill sets,
Hmm.
who actually can help each other. And so just because we're the leaders doesn't mean we're the only ones who know anything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I love being able to bring in other people and I love being able to say, oh, so and so newbie, you should talk to so and so who went through the same thing as you did just 6 weeks ago,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I love that part. It's like amazing. That's why I
There's
love group coaching so much.
Yeah, there's such a huge value in being in a situation that's challenging, but being able to also provide this is what worked in that specific
Yeah,
situation, and it's comforting to know for the person that's participating, going, wow, there's a lot of resources in here that's solving
exactly.
problems for me, right?
Yeah,
It's helping me solve problems, and now you've learned something that eventually you could even share too down the road or whatever it is, right? I think also too, what's important is what we like about group coaching as well, and a membership or tribal sort of environment is it's so important that entrepreneurs are constantly around other entrepreneurs
yeah, for
because
sure. Or in any space, even if
yeah,
they're trying to lose weight or they're trying to find the love of their life. Like it's
yeah,
great for people to be around others who are on the same track, right?
yeah, and it's interesting too when I realized when I was doing more of this is it's interesting too how people still feel like if they're having a bad day or whatever that they're falling short behind everybody else, and they're like, the ones that are struggling or whatever, but they don't ask for help or share anything. So
Yeah,
part of this is creating a culture inside of your space as well, so that it's a safe place to say, look, I've been struggling. I haven't done
yeah,
my DMs in like 12 days and I'm
yeah,
losing my mind, but I don't know why I feel stuck, right? And then
yeah,
someone jumps in, some back and forth, like, oh yeah, I was like that too, like 5 days ago, and I came back.
yeah, yeah,
That's a huge value again in the space to help just kind of get people back on and realize that we're human, we deal with stuff,
yeah,
and we'll never know until we step in and ask for help or
yeah,
share. That's why we follow up with people too, just to see where they're
yeah.
at.
And it's always great to have the other people in the group who have been there longer than you have,
Yeah,
or who have maybe they haven't been there for a long time, but they've gone through what you've gone through to be able to support. So yes, I love that. Um, okay, and then we're at number five. So
yeah,
number five is personal invitation. So this is a huge one too. And I have had to learn this lesson the hard way for sure. So, one of the biggest things that most coaches talk about is automation. Automation, building funnels, building your email list, and all that stuff. And I actually think that building your email list is not necessary from the get go. Sure, if you want to get it started, that's fine. Why not? Like, do you need it as you grow? Yes. But from the beginning, I actually don't think that that is the most important thing to do. I remember when I was trying to launch my fitness business coaching and I was online and I was just getting started and I was trying to like build the email list organically and it felt impossible and it felt like it took forever and all of that stuff. And you know, I don't believe that people should be starting to run paid advertising until they have a proven offer. And so when people get started, they do need to do their sort of client getting and client finding organically. That's what I believe. I don't think people should be jumping into paid ads without a proven offer. So if you're going to do it organically, now it's going to take time. And so I think that the more important thing than trying to organically build an email list so you can then create this fancy funnel and this fancy sales page and all of that stuff, I think the more important thing is to directly connect with people through the DMs, through networking, whether it's in person or online. Um, and really making it personal invitations. So what this means is if I'm going to host an event, so for example, a virtual dinner party, which is the first type of event that we teach our people, if I'm hosting an event, I'm not sending out an email to an email list of 30 people. I am personally DMing 30 people. And actually, I'm personally DMing as many people as I have following me on social, connected with me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, whatever it is, and not trying to automate everything and to, do all of that stuff, because when you are getting started, if you don't have a strong brand behind you, which you wouldn't when you're just getting started, and even up until the time where you're making 5, 8, 10K a month, I actually still believe that you should be focused on personal invitation and connecting with people directly. Like when we do events and stuff like that, yes, we run paid Facebook ads now to our workshop 100%. But within that, we still have an Instagram chat where we connect with people directly. We still use text messaging where we connect with people directly that way. And once they're in our world and in our Instagram, we are going and following them. We're sending them personal DMs. We send them personal reminders, like all of that stuff. So even when it is being at scale with Facebook ads, we still try to make it as personal as possible. And the reality is that when you connect with people directly, the conversion rate goes up like tenfold. So if I was trying to sell from a sales page, this is what people don't realize. It's like they're being told to automate, they're being told to build a funnel, they're being told to do all that stuff. But what they don't realize is that when you have a list of 100 people, and even at 100, like that would be good for someone to have organically grown their list to 100. If you had 100 people and only 30 or 40% of people are opening that email, now we're talking about 30 or 40 people. And of that number, maybe 1% clicks on the link to your sales page. Well, already 1% of 40 is less than one. So what people don't realize is that the metrics and the conversions and the stats don't actually work when you have a low number. Like you
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to get 10 clients through email automation from a list of 100.
Mhm.
Like that would be very unheard of.
Yeah, you would
Or
totally think
very
you were with those percentages too, you totally would think that you were failing miserably.
and that.
And
And
just
so
the
it just
volume wasn't there.
exactly. So for
Yeah.
me, I don't go this route at all. Everything is personal connection. It's meeting people in at events, hosting your own, attending events all the time, 2, 3, 4 a month, virtual and in person, like alternate them or whatever it is.
Hmm.
And connecting with people directly, inviting them to book calls, inviting them personally to your events, right? And at those events, you're inviting them to book calls as well. You're following up personally as well. So, yes, automation for things like once they've booked their call with you, they get automated reminders. Yes.
Yeah.
But automation, like sending an email list of 100 to try to get 3 or 5 or 10 clients, the numbers just don't add up. So
Yeah.
when you try to do sales from that type of a system, especially if you're trying to sell from a sales page, which also converts around 1 to 3%, like the numbers just aren't there. And so I'd rather people book calls. And when you
Yeah.
get on calls with people, then you could be closing. Maybe if you're brand new, you're closing 10%, 15%. And as you get better, you're closing 30, 35, 40%.
Hmm.
So now for every 10 people I get on a call with, I'm getting 4 clients,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That's the vibe, right? Because if we waited to use an email list to get 4 clients, the number of people you need on your email list is way higher.
Yeah, and I always think about me as the potential client or customer, right? Like how many emails pop into my inbox that I'm just annoyed with.
Yeah.
I don't want to respond to them. It's another task I got to do in my busy
Yeah.
day. There's
Mhm.
all of that stuff too, right? You got to think about like how do you want to be in their world, right? And yes, when you hear from us, it's not a bot. It's not like some
Yeah.
AI machine or something. It's
No,
really
it's not.
us. And if it's not us, it would be someone that's another human being that's on our team that's doing reach outs because you've had people
Yeah.
doing that for you as well in the past.
Yeah.
And ultimately, yeah, maybe you get big enough that you do require a team to actually get these reaches out, but it's going to
Yeah.
be a person. Like I just recently signed into a workshop, and you're familiar with. I was like going back and forth as whether or not I was actually going to do this program. Turns out I just kind of put it on the shelf for a second because I wasn't sure if what they were offering was exactly what I needed at the time. But that real growth company helping you basically extract a book funnel from you and teach you how to do it. What I loved about them was it was a real guy texting me. I think he
Yeah,
was from Australia or something, but he was literally just having conversations with me. And I was like, I kind of feel bad saying no to these guys, even though this isn't what I want yet, right? So,
yeah,
but I appreciated those exchanges because
absolutely.
you did feel supported. It felt like it was a real person, and because it was. And I felt cared for. I found I've been offered high ticket coaching before where I'm like, this guy's expecting me to drop 20K US on some funnel system or whatever. I'm like, I still don't think he even knows who we are right now.
Yeah,
Like, because I was partnered with somebody else, we're creating something, and it was really just he was lining us up for the sale and making us. You know this thing when they feel like they make you feel stupid for saying no,
yeah,
even though the price is outrageous. But he was doing all the right things there from the sales mechanical side of things.
right.
And he was pretty personable and stuff. It's just, I don't feel like he really understood what we were doing.
Yeah.
And if we would even be successful if he gave us 30 leads a month,
Yeah,
right?
and that's a big part of it too. It's like
Yeah.
actually getting to know the people that
You
you're
got to take the
talking
time.
to.
You got to take the time.
Yeah. And it's, when you take the time to get to know people, it's like when you eventually invite them to your event or into your program or into your beta test of your group coaching program or whatever it is, it's like you want to be able to reach out to them and actually say, "Hey, Brian, I remember 3 weeks ago when we talked, you mentioned this and this and that. I'm actually hosting an event that's coming up. We're going to be talking about that topic. I'd love to have you. Why don't you come?" Right. So it's
Mhm.
actually genuine.
Yeah.
And the other piece is like, we've been really big on this let's make business fun again thing lately. And
Yeah.
I think when people get stuck in feeling like because they want to build an online business, which to me is the delivery of their program, they think that they have to do everything else online as well. They think they
Yeah.
have to do all their lead gen. They think they have to do all their automation. Everything needs to be fancy, become the graphic designer, the tech guru, the copywriter, and all that stuff. Learn how to sell from sales pages. And the reality is, you actually don't need to do any of that stuff. You can totally meet your people in person or even networking online, but that's as in person as you can get, right? When you're online, in that way where you're meeting them like face to face, and you can totally build your business that way. So even though you're delivering online, you're meeting people directly, and that has made our business so much more fun again. Like
Yeah.
going to events the last year has been incredible. It's been such a game changer for us. We are also hosting events in person that translate into our online programs. And so that is a topic for another day about all the events and stuff that we're doing. But essentially the model is to connect with people, to meet new people. It's when we meet people at a networking event in person and we can easily invite them to our in-person event that's coming up in the next 3-4 weeks, whatever it is. That's been such a natural progression for us. And then from our event, they are typically invited into some type of next step, whether it's into our virtual studio, into our next retreat, whatever it is, or into one-to-one coaching with us, whatever. But it's been so natural, and the
Yeah.
relationships have been built so quickly, and we've been getting on lots of coffee chats and stuff like that. And so I think there's such an important piece here about making business fun again and not feeling so stuck behind having to learn all this tech and having to learn all the copy and design skills and all of that stuff. I think that we can really actually let go of a lot of that at the beginning and be able to just build our businesses in person and through personal invitation.
Yeah, one thing I think we sometimes forget is 'cause especially when people get in their heads about doing DMs and making connections on various media platforms and stuff like
Yeah.
that is like I don't care what you're selling, without people, you have nobody to sell to,
Right.
right? and you have to constantly be growing your network, your connections, and all this stuff. Yeah, you're not going to be best friends with 10,000 people,
No.
but there's a way that you're going to be able to connect with them and let them know you basically exist and what you offer exists. And maybe they know somebody that might require your services or whatever it is,
For sure.
right? Or you might collaborate, or you might be referral partners, or sometimes too, I found when I was doing DMs as well, sometimes just the human connection was enough. And it raises your vibe, raises your energy, makes you feel like you're out there in the world being a person and stuff.
Yeah.
And rather than kind of feeling like you're locked in this little cave in front of a screen, like
Yeah. Hiding
that
behind your computer.
that doesn't align either. That doesn't align with the lifestyle we want to have. We don't want to be glued to the screen 24/7,
100%.
right? That's why, again, with group coaching and being able to leverage your time and energy and life force and your knowledge and your resources through
Yeah.
different means, so you don't have to be in front of the screen for 8 sessions a day, right?
Absolutely. That's, yeah,
Um,
and that's a huge reason why we went to group coaching, because we wanted to leverage our time. We didn't want to be on one-to-ones all day. And again, this could be like a whole other episode, right?
yeah.
But one of the biggest benefits of group coaching is that you're literally on a call once a week.
Hmm.
And the rest is asynchronous people, asking questions or sending you a DM or posting in your Facebook group or whatever other way they're communicating with you. And you're doing that for 10 to 12 to 15 people instead of being on 15 one-to-one calls every week, which is
Yeah.
insane.
Oh
So,
yeah. Like, I mean, I found even when I was physically going to a gym and training clients at a gym, it was easier to do 6 to 8 a day in person on my feet
mm,
than that many online.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just,
it's a
it's just,
lot to be staring at the screen all day.
yeah, it's not
Yeah,
sustainable. Even for
yeah.
your own health, it's not sustainable,
Yeah.
right?
So
So,
this is,
yeah,
yeah, this is where, the personal invitation, the connections come in. The group coaching program allows you to go to networking events and spend the day doing that. And that is your work for the day.
yeah,
So it doesn't mean you have to be at your computer 5 days a week, right? It's if you spend a day going to networking because you have an event that's going to take 2 or 3 hours plus driving and this and that, that is your work for the day,
yeah,
right? And that work, when you go to every event, and again, and we could go into depth in this on this, but when you go to an event, you connect with 2 or 3 or 5 people, and then you book calls with them and you build that connection. That's the work, right?
yeah, yeah. And I think too,
That's the fun.
one thing to remember too is like, if you actually happen to have fun on that at that event, that's not goofing off.
No.
That's the beauty of your job, of your work, is that you actually get to go
Let's make
out
it fun
and
again.
connect with people, right? Like, I think the first one of the ones we did locally here was at the Crepe Star place, and we met people. We had some food, had some great conversation and stuff,
Yeah.
and we came away with people that are in our space now, and that
Yeah.
we're working with, and we're helping or we're networking with. They've come to our house. They've done our network, our suburban retreats,
Yeah.
like. And I just kind of, we just literally walked in. We didn't even get up that night. We we were one of the last people who came in. We sat down at the end of the table,
Yeah.
chatted with the people that were just in our little section, and
Yeah.
it was so fun. And we lost track of time that we didn't even get around the room.
Yeah.
But we still ended up eventually through time and building these relationships and having these contacts, connecting with the rest of the people in the space, or at least some
Yeah.
of them, right? So
Yeah.
it it doesn't have to be hard work. You just have
Yeah.
to get off your butt and go and have your energy, get yourself vibing right, so
Yeah.
that you're getting out there, making those connections and creating and attracting opportunities and contributing value to the space too.
Yeah. And going into it with just the goal of connecting, not the goal
Yeah,
of selling and
take
not
the
the goal of
pressure
getting
off.
clients and
Yeah,
not any of that stuff. And just go and connect and be real and be yourself and have a good time, because building your business can be fun. And I can say that with confidence. I had so much fun the last year connecting with all these new people and making new friends and seeing people repeatedly at certain events and stuff like that. And it's great to walk in the room and to be recognized now, and to have those connections with people who I've seen 3, 4, 5 times now. And then this actually happened to me yesterday, and then we can close out. But I had been going to this networking event. I've been going, I would say, for the last year or so. I haven't gone to every single month, but maybe six or seven. And I was asked to actually speak. So because I had been to so many, I was asked to be the 5 minute featured speaker. And I was able to speak in front of the group yesterday. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago. And I did it. And then at the end, I had all these people coming up to me being like, your talk was so good. Like, thank you so much. We want to hear more about your events. I had invited them to our next full day event, which is in the next week or two. And now we have 4 people who have signed up for our next event.
Yeah,
And
it's
some of them,
amazing. Just like
yeah,
that.
like some of them I had met before, but I'd never really had an in-depth conversation. But it was like, nice to see you again. What's going
Mhm.
on? Last time you said this was happening. What's happening now? Like creating that relationship. And some of them I hadn't met at all, but they're coming anyways.
Yeah.
So it can happen so quickly.
Yeah.
And again, because I'm going to this event and there are now 4 of them and maybe more who are coming together, like they get to come with their friends and people that they know and they feel comfortable, and then they're going to come into the room. And in our room, we have some sort of core people that come to most of our events, so
Mhm.
a bunch of those guys are coming. And then we have one other person I can think of off the top of my head who's coming from a different event that we met at. So like
Mhm.
this is what has happened, but now we're bringing together even more great people. They're getting to meet each other, we're integrating them with each other. There's going to be referrals starting to go back and forth. People are working together. Like, this is so much fun for us. So,
Yeah, I feel
personal
like
invitation is just such an important piece.
yeah, not to call out certain types of networking groups and stuff, but
No names, no
I've
names.
found that let it, like releasing the pressure that's involved with trying to show up a certain way, a certain sort of professional way or whatever. Obviously, you don't
Yeah.
show up in spaces and do a backflip off the table and become an idiot. But like if you're in spaces where you could be the most sort of authentic to who you are and yourself and not feel pressure to someone said to me it's like be a walking business card, right?
Yeah.
Like that was a huge lesson I learned my first year of business on my own with networking was wow, I don't actually have to tell my life story and try to sell in the moment in that round table.
Yeah.
It's literally just walking in, shaking hands, meeting people, getting to know them, and then taking that chat offline to like another one-to-one coffee chat or an online coffee chat or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and just have those conversations, right? And
Yeah.
that made it so much more easy for me to expand my network, build the relationships, and then eventually connect with the right people that either
Yeah.
needed my work or people that I hired
Right.
to for services, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're more likely to do business with people you know and trust, right?
Absolutely.
So that's
Yeah.
key.
So sorry. So let's go back and just do a quick like recap of the five. So
Hmm.
number one is the offer length. Number two is the pay for what you get revenue model. So making sure you're creating monthly recurring revenue. The third is the library, the resource library instead of building a course. The fourth one is rolling enrollment, not close. So this way you can bring people in at any time. You can kick it off with one or two or three. It doesn't matter. Just keep bringing people in after that. And the fifth is that personal invitation, making sure you're connecting directly with your people.
Amazing. Love it. All right. We have this documented and packaged in this nice little podcast episode. Um, is there anything coming up right now? What do you want to share with the listeners?
Yeah, so if you guys want to get more in depth about this, you want to hear more, you have questions about it, and you also want to create the actual group coaching program that you want to launch and understand the different elements that need to go into that and the pricing and all of that stuff, we have a workshop that's going to be coming up, Design the Perfect Group Coaching Offer Workshop. We will leave the link inside of the notes or up or down or wherever it should be around this video. So you guys can come and join that. It should be coming up in the next couple of weeks whenever you click that link. So we'd love to have you there and help you be able to launch your group coaching offer within 90 days. That's what we help people do. But it all starts with creating the right offer and creating the format around it. So
All right. Awesome. We did it. Episode 11. We're getting closer. And I guess you'll be interviewing me next.
I will.
And
I can't wait talking all
yeah.
about holistic life coaching and life force and all the things that are um, so important to you and the things that you're so great at. So I look forward to that interview coming up next.
All right, let's do it.
Have a great day.
All right, take care.